So I've been seeing a lot of requests throughout my comment section of my Total Drama videos asking me to talk about the various antagonists throughout the Total Drama franchise. And as someone who tends to like villains and antagonists more than the main characters and or the good guys, this video is going to be a boatload of fun. So these are my thoughts on all the Total Drama antagonists. Well, not all of my thoughts per se, but rather just a decent amount, since thoughts can technically vary to me making an analytical speech on why I love Heather so much, to me talking for 30 seconds about why I love Julie Lemieux's voice work with Josee. I hope I pronounced that right, because I have no idea how to pronounce that. Of course, consider hitting that subscribe button if you've been on the channel before and like what you see, but yeah, villain time. Starting this list off with Heather, the original Total Drama antagonist. Maybe it would have been better to save someone like her for last, but at the same time, I think it's better to go in chronological order for the seasons for this video to have a more well-rounded structure. I've sang my praises for Heather every now and then in other videos, but man, she's just incredible. You know you've made an incredible antagonist when you hate their guts anytime they do something on screen. And waiting for their inevitable demise, wondering how they'll be done in. Even though Heather was given the mean popular girl at school persona / stereotype, she still felt a lot more human than a lot of the other characters in not only the OG Total Drama cast, but especially compared to the newer generation characters. Her manipulation tactics were always a sight to behold because she never went about taking people down the same way every time. She always had a unique plan, whether it be stealing Eva's MP3 player to trigger her anger issues, kissing Trent, or simply using characters like Justin as a scapegoat to get them booted. Although her role as a threatening antagonist was somewhat sidelined in the other seasons she competed in, she had incredible development and a redemption arc of sorts in Total Drama World Tour specifically, meeting her male counterpart Alejandro, who was able to do everything she was good in, but in a lot of ways better. So Heather was forced to cooperate with others to an extent she'd never cooperated with before, and as time went on, she seemed to have fun in doing so, eventually winning the entire season as more or less the hero of the cast for being the one to take down Alejandro in the end. It's super unfortunate how she didn't get any proper chance to shine in All-Stars. Heather, amongst many other great Total Drama antagonists from both the first generation cast and the second generation cast, but mainly the first, had major character derailments / were forced to be sidelined from Al. Justin was an interesting one. I don't even consider him the main antagonist of Total Drama action, but he still had many antagonistic moments and or tendencies. His main bread and butter for whenever he wanted to manipulate people was using his good looks and charming personality. Granted, the rest of the cast, mainly Lindsay and Beth, began to get tired of him always trying to use his great looks to get whatever he wants, feeling like he didn't put in enough effort and challenges. I feel like they definitely just didn't find him that attractive anymore as time went on too. Pretty much from that point on, he became a bit of a punching bag for comedic relief. Since he was so insecure about how he looked, the show took advantage of that insecurity, trying to make him suffer as much as possible, mainly in the physical department, which was actually kind of funny for the most part. Justin's voice actor, Adam Reed, had very good delivery with his lines, so even if Justin would just be saying some normal things, they came off as a lot funnier than if another character would say those same lines. At least for me.
Apparently I have excellent tendons. See? Check it out. You like that?
I'm glad he was a lot more impactful in action than Island, but I wish he could have competed again afterwards. Courtney was similar to Justin, where in Total Drama Island at least, she had antagonistic tendencies, but really capitalized on those traits when she joined the Total Drama action cast in episode 13. Because she got into this competition through her lawyers, she was given several unfair advantages and challenges thanks to having a PDA, and constantly using it to threaten Chris into giving her what she wants. She definitely did a decent job at being an antagonist though, like getting Harold to vote out Lashana and managing to get Duncan to do whatever she wanted every now and then. Though her personality was arguably way worse and or more annoying this season than in Island. In Island, she had a lot more friendlier moments and had some kind tendencies, you know, like befriending characters like Bridget to an extent, and, you know, being proud of Duncan whenever he did nice things or overcame certain obstacles. Though in action, she was just mean 24/7 and was out for herself more than ever, which I can respect to a degree since the goal is $1 million fucking dollars. But at the same time, it felt like her character became a lot more one-dimensional as a result. She tried to do what Heather did in action, but just couldn't find the same success. Beth having Courtney wrapped around her finger at one point was a shining example of this. Oh, how the tables turned there. I loved that for Beth. Now, moving on to Alejandro, the main antagonist for Total Drama World Tour. First thing I want to say is sorry for not putting this guy in S tier for my Total Drama tier list video, because in hindsight, he should have been up there. Aside from him having equal manipulation skills to Heather combined with Justin's charming good looks and charming false personality to woo others, I think what made Alejandro stand out the most to me was he was one of the few Total Drama antagonists that had, for lack of a better word, a meaningful reason to win the million. Alejandro came from a line of talented geniuses and overachievers. Although he's a super skilled person himself, he doesn't excel at anything spectacular like his brothers do. You know, his brother Carlos is a professional soccer player, whereas his brother Jose simply just beats him at everything. Al is presumably the baby of the family and is always being outdone by his older siblings. Winning Total Drama World Tour would have been a way to prove to his brothers that he's on equal footing with them now. It was nice to see Alejandro take such pride in his Hispanic heritage too, which is something that hasn't really been done with other total drama characters. It's a shame that kind of turned it into more of a joke in All-Stars though. Speaking of All-Stars, Alejandro did have that major moment in Suckers Punched by beating Jose in boxing. I'm very glad he finally stood up to his brother and beat him at something. However, that was peak Alejandro for that season since, well, Mal. He just made Al look so weak and useless, and it made no sense. More on that later, though. Starting off, the second generation cast is Scott. Scott's an interesting one because he might have had the biggest character shift out of any of the other antagonists in Total Drama. This man went from being Revenge of the Island's main antagonist to a comedic relief punching bag that got messed with in challenges almost as bad as Sam. Of course he had those moments in Revenge of the Island, mainly with Fang, but All-Stars took it to a whole nother level. He was pretty good in Revenge of the Island though. The strat of him willingly throwing his team's challenges and blaming them on someone else to get them booted wasn't necessarily the most creative way to go about the game, but it worked pretty damn well early on. And no other antagonist from the previous seasons has used this type of play as a main strategy, so it's also original to a degree. To me, his most dastardly act of villainy was in Grand Theft Auto, where he spent the entire episode of blackmailing Mike only to vote him off anyway, even though Mike did what Scott wanted the entire time. Well, I guess it was technically vetoed towards the end, but still. He had his manipulation moments here and there, but was usually betrayed by the person he tried to manipulate shortly after. Scott even had a bit of hinted motivation behind his actions when Dawn implied that Scott wasn't held enough as a child. This wasn't as blatant as Alejandro's, but, you know, better than nothing. Scott was decently funny in All-Stars, and that's really all I can say about him when it comes to that season. Oh right, his little relationship with Courtney was incredibly pointless. Like, why? Actually, why? Maybe I don't need to mention these characters, but I feel like my discussion would be incomplete in a sense if I didn't talk about Joe and Lightning at least a little bit. Joe was a solid character. I liked how she managed to prove time and time again that women can be just as strong, if not stronger than men. She played the game incredibly smart for a while too by getting people like Lightning on her side, but she never really went out of her way to get people eliminated like other antagonists from Total Drama. The only characters she really got into it with were Brick, Cameron, and eventually Lightning for a little. Cameron being the one to defeat her in her elimination episode, believe it or not. Joe's main problem is she wasn't the best team player in the world due to her stubborn personality, which is why her time in All-Stars was so short-lived. Playing the game like that won't work when the rest of your teammates are villains. All in all, pretty solid. Lightning is a weird one because even though he was put on the villains team in All-Stars and was one of the final two in Revenge of the Island, he didn't really act like an antagonist until the second to last episode, and I attribute that to him being outnumbered. It was him versus Zoe and Cameron, aka two close friends and generally good people at heart. I'm not saying this side of Lightning came out of left field per se, it's just prior to this, he was just the dumb jock who got through challenges with muscle, but booting Zoe at the end of the semi-final episode was the most strategic thing Lightning has ever done in Total Drama, so I give him props for that. But like Joe, his personality and way of playing the game was not gonna fly on a team of villains way better at playing the game than him. Now for Mal. I know this guy managed to defeat every other All-Star this season, but that doesn't make him a good antagonist to me. This season nerfed all the other villains just to make Mal look better. I'm not saying Mal wouldn't have been capable of getting stuff done if these nerfs didn't exist, but there's no shot the challenges would have been this easy for him. This guy was just evil for the sake of being evil, and all the evil actions he did were so basic and uninspired.
And I think he liked being locked up. He caused trouble just for the fun of it.
Me break phone, me break boat, me throw tire. Like, come on, dude. I will never get over this guy being one of the physically strongest characters in the franchise when he's built like that. It makes no sense. Not even in a cartoony sense. In no world does someone of his stature overpower someone like Alejandro. I don't care. Not a single person was wise enough to catch on to Mal's deception either. Not even Cameron. It just sucks how this guy existing made several other characters worse in certain aspects. It was just so unnecessary. He's smart, but not that smart. There were so many instances where he should have been caught in the act, but nope. Gotta milk him until the finale. For the third gen cast, I'm gonna start with Sugar. Sugar was a pretty soulless character and an antagonist to boot. With the exception of getting Ella directly voted out, she didn't really do anything your typical Total Drama antagonist would do. She was just there for the sake of gross humor with fart jokes, food jokes, and, you know, things of that nature, which was never funny to me, at least when she did them. I mean, there were a few times where she kind of messed with Sky and Dave's heads, but those moments didn't really stick out very well since the core of her personality was just being a gross white trash pageant queen. And those are the moments that took up the majority of her screen time, so. One thing I will give Sugar though is, like Sky said, she does have a pretty positive outlook on life, which I can respect, and being the one to subdue Scarlett wasn't half bad either. Speaking of Scarlett, she's the other Pocketeau Island antagonist. I really wish her core reason of being evil wasn't like Mal's, where she just liked being evil for the heck of it. The way they were building her up in the episodes prior to her reveal, it made it seem like Max's constant buffoonery was turning her into less of a pushover and would eventually send send her over the edge, which it kind of did, but not really. Once she made that comment about re-engineering her brother's RC toys to come to life and attack him, that kind of changed everything. Even more so when she told Max this evil personality is the real her and she was just biding her time waiting to strike. It would have been so much cooler if she was never secretly evil from the start and just went crazy because of Max. But that's just me though. Prior to her reveal, she was the main reason Max was able to pull off successful evil deeds and challenges, which is a lot more than Sugar did. No contestant was ever voted out over these deeds though, so it turned into kind of what Scott was doing, just failing to get specific people voted out from these evil acts. And to end off the list, we have Jacques and Josee from Total Drama: The Redonkulous Race. Not quite up there with Heather and Alejandro, but these two are damn close, especially Josee. The two of them each specialize in their typical Total Drama villain behavior, Jacques mainly being the one to directly sabotage a team during a challenge, like when he kidnapped Loki from the Goths or squirted oil on the sisters' emu, with Josee being the mind game expert, manipulating people like Brody and Jeff into a depressive state in the middle of a challenge. And even though the two of them are already pretty successful competing in the Olympics and all, I still vibe with their motivation to win. They were never able to get gold and feel like they're losing relevancy in the ice dancer world because of this, so winning the race would be an excellent way to get back into the spotlight and further motivate them to compete for gold again. They seem to genuinely care about their fans too. Like Scott and Al, Josee in particular seemed to have a pretty tough upbringing, which would explain her harsh personality. Maybe the hardest out of all three of them. Jose's mother ingrained in her at a young age that winning is everything and bronze is the medal of failure. That's a super toxic mindset to put onto a child when they're going through development. That clearly messed up Jose's outlook on life really badly, which makes me feel bad for her more than most of the other characters on this list. Jacques didn't have anything like that with his backstory and served as more comedic relief, which worked. His voice actor Scott McCord also voiced Trent and Owen and did a really good job with Jacques' voice delivery. He was a lot like Justin, where almost everything he said or did was funny because the voice work was just that good. And their designs were great too. Probably my favorite out of the antagonists, along with Alejandro. Some of you may wonder where characters like Zeke, Eva, or Amy might have been. I just feel like characters like them didn't have enough of an impact on the outcomes of the seasons they were in to really call them proper antagonists. Zeke is close, but when you really think about it, besides kidnapping Chris in one episode and stealing Heather's winnings, he didn't do anything that impacted the competition on even a semi-consistent basis like the others I mentioned did. Is he a tragic character because of all the shit he went through? Of course. Did he do bad stuff? Yes. But calling him a proper antagonist within the Total Drama franchise seems like a reach to me. I don't know. And sorry if you guys were expecting me to rank these guys from worst to best, but I kind of already did that with my tier list video, with the exception of Alejandro, who, like I said earlier, should have been S tier. If you haven't seen that video yet, I urge y'all to check it out though. The editing and commentary I did was more laid back, but I still had a lot of fun with it. I've always liked making tier lists for various franchises on my own time. If y'all ever want to make a tier list of your own, there's tons of templates on tiermaker.com. You know, that's in the description down below if you want to peep that. Let me know if there's any other of these general thoughts type videos you'd like to see. It doesn't even have to be about Total Drama either, you know, up to y'all. I'd love to see your suggestions and or thoughts. Of course, if you enjoyed this video, be sure to leave a like down below. It helps out a ton. But for now, I will see you guys next time. Peace out. Take care. Bye-bye.